Hi everyone, my name is Torrence Tremayne. I'm an astrologer. I'm based in New York City, and I have been practicing astrology professionally for the past few years, but I've been studying astrology for over a decade. I personally have kind of come into this craft and practice through many years of study. But it really began back when I was a kid, and I used to live in Appalachian, Ohio. I'm from the eastern part of Ohio, and we used to receive the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which was the local newspaper for Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they had this phenomenal astrology column. So it was a monthly horoscope, and what I loved about it is that it had like a funky kind of eccentric and quirky humor to it. So it wasn't just like your typical horoscope, where it's just wrote like this is what's happening this week, and there was always like a narrative and a lot of funny and joyful moments kind of scattered throughout the writing, and that really inspired me. It took many years before I kind of came into understanding that astrology was so much more than just our sun sign, that we have a full chart, including our moon, our ascendant, which are also important. But it was around college actually, so this is much later on, that I was introduced to my birth chart as a whole, and I started like exploring my own chart. And as I started to get into the complexity of my own natal chart, I started to realize, wow, this is a metaphysic. This is not just like something fun. It's like it can be fun, like in the Cosmo magazine, but it's also like a really deep intellectual practice, and it's existed for thousands of years throughout cultures all over the planet. So wow, it's pretty amazing. It really helped me in terms. I guess you could say I kind of came into a love of astrology. It became my passion. Rather than just like a hobby or like some casual interest. It's like something that's heart driven. You always say to my friends, like, astrology is actually like the great love of my life. So, it's always there, and it's something is always expanding. I'm always learning more. It was like, again, in college, I really delved into like depth with astrology, and from then on I was hooked, and I started doing readings for friends, casually. I would at a party or a bar, just like fun, 15-minute little moments. But seeing that the knowledge I did have seeing the knowledge that I did have still impacted people, even in those really quick, brief moments that were really for fun over drinks. It really, it touched my heart, and I realized, wow, like this isn't just something I loved. Seeing that in the brief moments I'd have with people, like at an event or a party, and I talk about like, just a couple aspects of their chart, and noticing like, wow, this is really, people's feedback. Like, this is correct, this is accurate, and there's a depth to this, and I love when teaching astrology, or just talking about astrology, I love bringing more people into the art. I want astrology to be something that's entirely mainstreamed and beyond mainstream. That's like not just a part of pop culture, but that is like a part of our culture, because it was classically. And I think it's really inspirational and really heartwarming to like see there's a real world impact in people's lives when they have a reading, or they just talk about their own chart and they get to learn, or not even just learn, because I think a lot of astrology is the reflection of the cosmos. It's just essentially a mirror, so it's not even necessarily a learning thing for a client or someone who's approaching astrology, but it can often just be the beauty of having yourself reflected in someone else's eyes or in someone else's words that you don't know, like a complete stranger that might even be across the world, and that they're able to look at a piece of paper or a computer screen and decipher through symbols your reality, your lived experience, not only like objectively, like XYZ occurred in this linear fashion, but like in a real embodied sense, like your emotional subjective experience. And I think that's actually the greatest gift of astrology for me personally, but also for my clients. So I'm really excited because at the end of August, on August 26th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing a virtual workshop with the Alchemist Kitchen, and this will be on the Ascendant in astrology. So what I'll be discussing is the importance and the power and potential of learning about your Ascendant. Something that's kind of been lost in more contemporary forms of astrology is that the first house in the Ascendant is the cornerstone of the chart. The sun sign even isn't actually as important. It is important, but isn't as important as we have been led to believe by the past 50 years of astrology. So I'm really interested in exploring that topic with you, and I hope that have you all join me.